Apartments of Melbourne in liquidation. Have we hit the insolvency cliff? Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, and I'd like to look at this article from realcommercial.com.au discussing apartments of Melbourne being placed into liquidation. And thank you very much to the viewer that sent this through to me. Now, about a little over a month ago, 25 days ago, plus a few more, well now a month actually, I released a video talking about 25 days until the insolvency cliff. And in this video I discussed just the rates of personal insolvency and company insolvency, and how, well, for personal insolvency we're down. We're below 50% of the average. And you're thinking, fantastic, Florian, that's a good thing. It's great. People are getting smarter with their money. Businesses aren't getting insolvent. Everything's going real well in our first recession in 28 years. No, it's artificial, guys. Sadly, it is artificial. You can see here, look at the number of personal insolvencies down. People probably have more money. Some people are doing better with the increased government support. And here are companies that are going down. Look at that dive, everyone. If we say the average is between 2550 and just under, what, say 1900, we're under 1,000 right now in the latest quarter. So we are definitely, well, the number of businesses that are in external administration are below where they should be. And you can see here how many were happening in each state, and then as a percentage of where they should be. The only one that's up is Canberra, the little blue, oh sorry, the ACT, the little blue dot here in the middle of New South Wales. It's at 103%, but everything else is well, under 50 nearly. Queensland's at 45%, New South Wales at 45%, Victoria at 53%. Tasmania, it's actually at 0 because there were no insolvencies in that quarter, or no external administrations in that quarter for companies. Western Australia's at 52%, Northern Territory 22%, and South Australia at 34%. So I put the argument to you that once we hit the beginning of this year and the trading while insolvent rules change, and I honestly think it'll really hit when we all get our BAS bills. When we get our BAS bills, guys. But here we have a company now that is in liquidation. And I just wonder if trading while insolvent let them kick on a little bit longer than they should. We'll have to have a look. And is this just the beginning of this insolvency cliff that we're going to start to see materialize, everyone? So, operator of 160 luxury serviced apartments across Melbourne CBD has been placed into liquidation after being slammed by the collapse of business travel, as well as a flood of accommodation hitting the market on online booking site Airbnb. Apartments of Melbourne, which specialised in short-stay accommodation and employed 52 people, will now be liquidated by Core Cordis partner Sam Queso. The business, which turned over more than $10 million annually, counted upmarket properties scattered around the city in 3 buildings at Empire, Melbourne Central, 555 Flinders Street, and 568 Collins Street. The serviced apartment sector has been battered over the past year as bushfires hit the industry in its 2019 peak before the COVID-19 dealt the final blow. Remember that, everyone, when we were just discussing the bushfires last year and how they were the big issue. Now, this is going to flow through to investor property too, investors who are on Airbnb, because, well, business travel has taken a hit. And even international tourism has taken a hit, and migration to Australia has taken a hit, and international students have taken a hit. But business travel, just think about this. If even everything else gets back to normal, how many of you would rather do a Zoom call and remote into someone from home or from your office than get on the plane, fly to Melbourne and have that meeting? There'll still be business travel, don't get me wrong. There's still going to be times when you have to meet person to person, when you have to shake hands in reality, when you have to present, at least for the time being. I think there may be a generation or two where even that may start to fade away. But honestly, I think that we'll start to see a culture shift manifest, and there'll be less demand for these products, these services. Because it's a pain flying around. Sure, when you're young and you first start doing it, it's fun and novel. And then after a while, you get sick and tired of paying $8 for a dodgy sandwich at the airport, and then running around in taxis, and then getting hot and sweaty in your clothes, having to get changed before meetings. All this stuff, it just isn't worth it. So, Quest set the precedent after several of its franchises were shuttered by the pandemic. Now, 3 corporate entities under the Business Apartments of Melbourne have been rolled up, owing creditors around $1 million, according to Director Neil Davenport. $1 million, everyone. Now, this is why I'm worried. This is why this worries me. Okay, it's not the fact that some businesses are going to disappear. That's a part of life. That's a part of an economy where there should be natural cycles, where the less innovative, the older, stodgier businesses that can't be as flexible, can't push the boundaries, they become less and less successful, and sometimes they fail. And sometimes they need to clear the way for newer, smarter, more innovative businesses to come and take what's left over and start again. That's what we want. We want some creative destruction in a capitalist economy. It'd be great if we really tried having one, not this quasi-centrally planned one that we've got. Now, what worries me is all the people, the people that are doing businesses with these 50% plus of businesses that should be insolvent that aren't, or that are trading insolvent, or that are being propped up by JobKeeper. I keep referring to Victoria, nearly 9% of everyone employed is propped up by JobKeeper. How many of those businesses are zombie businesses? Do you think these 52 people employed by this apartment business, you'd think they were getting JobKeeper? That'd be interesting to see. But $1 million to creditors, everyone. And that's the thing. When you do business with someone, and this is what some employees may not realize, you're giving someone credit. And you have to pay your workers. You have to do everything regardless of all of that. You got to pay it. So you're still owed for that $1 million. It's outstanding. That's one of the advantages of scaling back my business. Rachel and I, we got rid of the staff. We got rid of the office. We really scaled back to save us money and time. And it really has, it means that if I have someone that owes me, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, I mean, the worst has been, I think, 15 grand I've been stiffed, never paid. Mostly it's just people paying really late. But now I don't have any of those overheads. My overheads, I've shrunk them down. I've really been vicious with them. So if I don't get paid, it's not as bad. But if you're a creditor working maybe as a cleaning company for one of these, or we'll look at another one, a builder going under. If you're a creditor to that and you're built into, into these buildings and put products and materials into it, then you're kind of in a lot more trouble. Mr. Davenport said much of the money was owed to the ATO and bigger creditors like Booking.com. Well, there you go. See, ATO, I tell you guys, it's going to happen once the BAS bills start getting due. Once the business activity statements fall due later on this year, the first quarter one, or the ones from last quarter, once they start hitting, or maybe the quarter after that. Once all the JobKeeper, it's starting to get less, and now you can't trade while insolvent, so people are going to start chasing you. We'll have to see, guys. So people are talking about a V-shaped recovery. Is it even possible yet? What's going to happen? So, Apartments of Melbourne started in 2015 before growing to 160 apartments across 3 buildings. Prior to the bushfires in 2019, it was growing and looking to sell, but then between March and June this year, 80% of bookings at Apartments of Melbourne were cancelled as Victoria languished under its first wave of restrictions. From July to September, as Victoria slipped into its second wave arising from the catastrophically botched hotel quarantine arrangements, Apartments of Melbourne saw all bookings cancelled. Mr. Davenport said only 6 of its staff were entitled to JobKeeper. Okay, so they only had 6 getting JobKeeper, but still, that's money going to a business that's now failed. That's the harsh reality of it. That's future tax burden for citizens that's gone to a business that's going under. Unlike some operators of short-stay apartments, Apartments of Melbourne did not receive any contracts to supply accommodations to Victoria's quarantine or Medi-Hotel schemes. Mr. Davenport said the combination of businesses moving many of its meetings to Zoom or online combined with closed borders meant conditions in the industry were unlikely to turn around anytime soon. Despite the recent success of the listing of Airbnb on the US stock exchange, the short-stay market has been hammered by the pandemic. I mean, you can't really take a successful listing on the stock exchange as a sign of a good industry anymore these days, can we? I mean, come on. It just means, the initial investors have, hoovered up all the money from the retail guys. CEM Group, which operates Quest hotels in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Gladstone, has closed 5 hotels, while thousands of Airbnbs have flooded the rental market, leading to a collapse in rents. Mr. Davenport said almost 25,000 rentals had come on the Melbourne market in the last 6 months, of which over half were short-stay apartments where operators had simply walked away. A lot of our staff were on student visas. I had to tell staff they need to go home because the government won't support them. Mr. Davenport said government support for the sector was nowhere to be seen, with Victoria's touted tourism voucher program excluding metro businesses. There have been no program for Melbourne Metro. Melbourne Metro properties, those that have reopened, have seen occupancy rates of 20 to 50% and are struggling, he said. Now, after all the emotional toll of seeing his business collapse, Mr. Davenport is done with the short-stay apartment industry. I've taken some time off due to mental health issues. Couldn't process what was going on. It was such a cataclysmic event, he said. The collapse of the business comes as a wave of insolvencies loom across the Australian economy. Temporary debt protections brought in by the federal government during the early days of the pandemic have suppressed insolvencies. Exactly. Yes. And I feel sorry for him. I mean, this is completely beyond his control. The government's just screwed him. You can't trust them, guys. And this is the problem. These lockdowns, they're going to be idiots that are going to be calling for that for every bloody, oh no, we've got the flu, quick, shut the economy down. It's going to be, you're going to start hearing it again and again in years moving forward. That's what worries me more than anything. It's not now, it's 5 years, 10 years time. So when you're in a business, you're going to have to factor in this potential government intervention in your ability to run your business. And is there a growth in the movement for individual liberty and self-reliance in Australia coming out of this? It doesn't feel like it. It feels like we're becoming even more of a Karen nation. So ASIC data shows only 6,278 businesses went bust between October 19 and October 2022. Of these, almost 2/3 were in the first half of the year as ratios of insolvencies plummeted. But the looming end of protections has many forecast a reckoning for businesses which have traded through the pandemic, supported by government payments and debt relief. Now, that's the thing. I hope none of you are owed significant amounts from businesses that are going to go under. So, make those phone calls, guys. Chase them up. We'll have to see how it all goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the content I cobbled together here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, even the pocket squares behind me that Rachel handmade in our very own sweatshop, the house right here. You can also support us using Gold Pass or PayPal. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.